Hey, look, let me talk my talk. Let me speak my piece. It's for all my dogs, coming straight off the leash. She kill 'em all like the Reaper. I need a girl like MEKA. She jumping out the gym on all them hoes. Shorty came straight out the bleachers. Hey, she the baddest. Hey, that girl too bad. Hey, she came through with the combo, cause Shorty too lavish. Hey, that girl she the baddest. Hey, that girl too bad. Hey, look, she came straight with the combo. Hey, look, let me talk my talk. Let me speak my piece. It's for all my dogs, coming straight off the leash. She kill 'em all like the Reaper. I need a girl like MEKA. She jumping out the gym on all them hoes. Shorty came straight out the bleachers. Hey, she the baddest. Hey, that girl too bad. Hey, she came through with the combo, cause Shorty too lavish. Hey, that girl she the baddest. Hey, that girl too bad. Hey, look, she came straight with the combo. Hey, look, let me talk my talk. Let me speak my piece. It's for all my dogs, coming straight off the leash. She kill 'em all like the Reaper. I need a girl like MEKA. She jumping out the gym on all them hoes. Shorty came straight out the bleachers. Hey, she the baddest. Hey, that girl too bad. Hey, she came through with the combo, cause Shorty too lavish. Hey, that girl she the baddest. Hey, that girl too bad. Hey, look, she came straight with the combo.
Happy Thursday and welcome to From the DMV Live with MEKA. I'm your host, MEKA. Thanks for tuning in. So our Thankful Thursday thought of the day is simply this. No. So be thankful for the fact that you can say no. So these people that call you up with their drama when you're in the midst of your drama, these people that want to dump their bad energy onto you or pull you out of your positive mode or mess up your good day with their drama, be thankful that you can say no. I don't want to go. I don't want to attend. I'm busy. I can't attend your pity party, your complaint Olympics, whatever we want to call it, I'm just saying. So that's our thankful thought of the day. Everybody, thanks for joining us. We are going to have a very interesting show today. Tag everybody. Make sure they join us in the chat. Feel free to join in the chat. And today we're going to be talking to me. Not me talking to myself. We've done that before, though, too, right? Wasn't the worst show. I mean, maybe. But hopefully it wasn't that bad. But we're going to be talking about me, because today we're talking about what Lavish Conversations is all about. Now, from the DMV Live with MEKA, I pride myself in just having just that, lavish conversations. Lavish conversations are conversations with inspiring people on why existing is not enough. Now, what do you mean when you say existing is not enough, MEKA? Well, I mean, when you wake up every day, yeah, you're existing initially. But at that very moment, you have the option to make a conscious decision to shift into living and no longer is existing. You feel me? So when you're just existing, you're kind of just sitting, letting life happen to you. You're not living a purpose-driven, intentional life. However, once you get into that intentional, purpose-driven situation, you'll find yourself way busier than you were before, and you'll have way less time for anybody's drama. Thankful, right? I'd like to give a special shout out before we get started today to our sponsor. Our sponsor is the Fort Lauderdale Fiesta. They have already started planning for the 2025 Fort Lauderdale Fiesta. I'm going to show you all a brief little clip. This is my little commercial, if you will. now. And we're back. So, as I said, we're having a lavish conversation where I'm going to be answering some questions. We're going to kind of delve into what got this show started, the purpose, and what keeps me motivated and keeps me moving. As you all know, I am an authoress. I got that from girlfriends. Is authoress a real word? I feel like it should be. I don't know. I like being an author, but I like better being an authoress. It gives lioness, you know? Maybe I'm just tripping. Let me know in the chat. All right, so we're going to kick off our questions. We have the lovely Mrs. Spence in the building. If you know, then you know. If you don't know, ask somebody. I don't know what to tell you. And you'll know who she is. She's not going to be on camera today because, I mean, you know, that's not really what she does. She's for her wisdom, her input. She's a, you know, strong force, you know, if you will, in your life, you know, one of those people. But one of those that doesn't have to be seen at all times. It's always a plus, too. All right. So, Mrs. Spence, welcome.
Hi, MEKA.
Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for the opportunity.
So, I know this isn't about you, but I know just got here from Jamaica.
I did, and I'm ready to go back.
I'm ready to go back, too. It was such a lovely, lovely experience.
I knew you would enjoy yourself.
You were so hospitable for you to not be from Jamaica, though.
Yes, I am from Jamaica.
Now you are officially. I think it's official. I mean, she had me eating all types of stuff. I don't even know if she ate all that stuff, you guys. I have to give you a little snippet of the ice cream truck I saw there. Oh, it was so cute. So cute. Now, we tried last week to play the video with Rosie. I would try again this week, but I'm not going to do that to you all. But make sure that you are subscribed to the YouTube channel and that you check out the live from Jamaica with Rosie video that I have on there. We had a great conversation. It was very impromptu and inspired by Mrs. Spence, I must say, because she was right there and felt the spirit move. I said, you know what? I want to talk to you. And she said, well, go ahead, talk to her. And we sat down and had this great conversation. And this wonderful lady dropped so many gems, just gem after gem, and truly just without effort, just being an inspiration in who she is. So now back to our getting started. I guess I'm ready to answer questions. I'm not really good at answering questions.
It's okay. You'll be good at this.
I feel like I should.
I think you'll be fine because it's me asking you the questions.
That's true.
It'll make you a little more comfortable.
Even though I don't know the questions, we don't know the questions.
So the questions. I mean, I know everything already, you know, but it's some things that I feel like your listeners need to know, you know, about you and who you are.
Yeah. Okay.
So. Let's start.
Let's get it started.
444. Can you tell us a bit about where you grew up and how that shaped you into who you are today?
Funny enough, I grew up in Forestville, but I always grew up in Forestville for the most part, even though half of me is from Southeast. I know it sounds weird. However, my mom grew up on Old Central Avenue in Southeast, and everybody in that neighborhood, I know people talk about how back in the day, you know, everybody on the block was family. Well, on Old Central Avenue to this day, everybody's still family. So they have reunions every year and the whole nine. Whereas I know those people, I would say, probably even better than I know the people in Forestville that I grew up with. I started off over around Forest Creek, and I used to be so scared because every night I would hear the ambulance and the fire department, and I just was like, oh, we are going to burn up in here. I don't want to live in an apartment because somebody's going to burn my house down. That's all I could think. I don't know why. But so we moved from there to Hyattsville for, I want to say, a year or two. And then we moved to 444, Forestville. That's where I'm from. Yes. Ritchie Road. If you don't know, check us out. Small place, big people. Yeah.
Who were some of your biggest influences growing up?
Growing up, honestly, I was very influenced by TV a lot. I was a latchkey kid. And so, therefore, most of the things I discovered were outside of, you know, my general area, but they were honestly through TV. Like I would watch documentaries. One of my favorite shows, which you know, there's not many people know this at all, is a PBS special that Jada Pinkett did back in the day. It was before she was on anything. Like she was still in school and everything, and she was like a runaway slave. So good. She was the only person in the whole movie, I think. It was a great movie. quick little thing. But I used to, skip school to watch things on TV or read books. Um, I feel like a really big geek when I say that, but it's true. My uncle also was always a designer and art, artiste, if you will. He designed clothes for Patti LaBelle. So when I was really young, I was around a lot of artsy people. But meeting people who were more famous, I'll say, in person, they weren't as impressive to me as when I saw them or what they could do in their actual art or in their actual, lane or stage.
That kind of goes into this. What were your earliest dreams and ambitions?
I wanted to be an actress.
You definitely are that.
Yeah, I definitely am. If you know me, then you know there are like 4 MEKAs, and they're all genuinely me, though. It's the crazy part. It's just depending on what's going on in my life. Maybe I'm a compartmentalizer or something, but I definitely have, different. I know that there's a time and a place for everything. So I'm not the same place and time and person in every instance. Okay. Although my morals pretty much stayed the same, I'd say.
Okay. How did you first get into the field that you're in today?
Well, okay, so I started off, I talk too much. That's what I was told growing up. But apparently it was a bit of a gift in there. And, little did I know while people were saying, shh, be quiet. I don't feel like hearing your voice right now, or whatever the case may be. I had some things to say. And as I went along, people started pulling me into volunteering for different things. I sang with a group. There were 4 of us, a quartet, if you will. And we sang at like the Superdome and the Alamo Dome and, all these different places, the Warner Theater, the Lincoln Theater. But everywhere we sang, they would make me speak, right? Like our little introduction. But if I was mad, because we used to argue all the time. 2 of them were my cousins and the other one was my god sister. We argued all the time. We were the original girl group of girl groups. So if we argued beforehand and I was mad, we wouldn't say anything. And we were singing these super inspirational songs. So we'd walk out there and be like, the Lord is my life. Like everybody just starts singing, but it's like, you don't sound very inspirational. So I was always the one to give the inspirational word,
Okay.
Yeah, so that's how I got into it. And then, well, that's how I started, I guess. But then I moved from there, and people told me, find something realistic to do, a practical dream. Acting is not a good job to say you want to do, or music as a backup that's still not it. We need a better plan B. And so I said, okay, I like to know things. I'm very inquisitive. I'm going to go into HR. HR knows everything. They know who makes what, who's getting fired. They know that the company's breaking the law, even if they
you like the nosy jobs.
Exactly. Yeah, I think that there's a definite trend there, right? There's a trend there. So I went into HR. I did really well and I've gone up to the director level. I've done a lot of recruitment, employee relations, the whole 9. I got certified in all of that. However, I was still being pulled to feel more purpose driven. And I feel like while I am meant to affect the trickle down theory, which was a big thing about HR too, because when you go to work, somebody has a bad day and they mistreat you, and then you go home and you mistreat your wife, and your wife mistreats the kids, and the kid mistreats the dog bites the cat, etc. It's a trickle down theory. It's a ripple that happens. And so that's why I was good with HR, but I didn't feel like I was having the impact that I wanted to have still. And then I had this horrendous accident, right? I had to learn how to speak again. And so when I had the accident, I really didn't know where to go with things because I'm such a vocal person. Like, talking is what I do. That's how I express myself best. And I was very frustrated. But as I learned to speak again, I learned to look at more of why I'm here and what I could do with my life and myself and my voice,
Can we talk about your accident?
Of course.
What happened?
Well, I was on my way to work and I was, this was actually my second accident in life. Mm-hmm. And I was in my 40s. So I'm driving to work. The first time I'm driving to work, and this guy on the Beltway, we are all stopping, and he just hits me like full force though. And I'm like, what in the world? And then he dies. He dies, y'all. That was so traumatizing. Like, I didn't know what to do with that energy. You know what I mean? But so that happened. All right. About, I want to say a year, not even a year, maybe 6 months later, I'm on my way to work and I'm pulling up by Capitol Heights Metro Station. And there's the stop sign there. This guy stops at the stop sign like he's about to stop and then just keeps going. And I T-boned him. That's what happened. And all of my airbags come out, all that. The car's totaled. And I go to the hospital, GW actually, and they discharge me. Like, you can have somebody pick you up, you're good. I had a huge knot on my head. I couldn't walk. Like, and I was just like really disoriented. They're like, you can go, you're fine. I was like, okay. So my sister-in-law came to get me. She's a firefighter, thankfully. And when she came to get me, by the time we get to the house, like my speech is a little questionable. Well, I'm a single mom. So it's me and 5 kids. There's me and 5 kids there, right? And as I'm going through the weeks, the kids are like, hold on, or the days rather, the kids are like, you don't sound right. Like something's wrong. Because I'd go to fuss about something and I couldn't say regular words like bottle. I'd be like, get that, like I couldn't think of what it was
Kind of
called.
like stroke symptoms?
Yes, very much so. Yes. And it was crazy. It was definitely scary and crazy. And my family sent the ambulance and they came and got me and I had to go through all this therapy. But ultimately, I feel like meditation is where I was able to calm myself down enough to regain my voice. Yeah, I had this like really bad, like if I could get something out, I'd be stuttering. Like it just was too much going at one time, it felt like. But when I started meditating, I was able to like kind of calm things down.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's go back to the career part. What inspired you to become a media personality? And what do you love most about it?
Well, what inspired me to become a media personality is 3 years ago, my son passed away, Jeremiah. Shout out to Jeremiah and your essence. And when my son passed away, he was actually my second son. I had 2 boys and 4 girls. My first son passed away as a baby from SIDS. Shout out to Jaden. And then 20 years later, suddenly I got this call that they think something happened. They think he's dead. And I'm like, what do you mean they think he's dead? Like, irrational, impossible. You want to know why? It's impossible because I already had a child pass. So those things don't just happen twice to people, or I felt that way anyway. However, I was wrong because it happened. It happened hard. And so when I got down to where he was in Chesapeake Beach, Maryland. Actually North Beach, which is right up the street from Chesapeake Beach. But he was in North Beach. And when I got down there, I just remember ultimately just crumbling, like in the street, like balled up in a ball, like shut down. And that's why I say all the time, that's why I wrote my book called Thank God I Didn't Kill Myself. But that's why I called it Thank God I Didn't Kill Myself. Because at that moment when I was in the street, not saying commit suicide, although that's an option too. But really what it was is at that moment I cut off and I had the option to stay off. Somebody could have had to pick me up out of the street and drag me to whatever hospital. That could have been it. You know what I mean? However, at some point in time, God picked me up. And the reason I say that is because when I came to in my brain again, I had a different perspective on things. I was definitely hurt and sad and broken, but I went on a meditation retreat. Meditation again. I went on a meditation. I think it's so funny because that's a very common thread in my healing journeys. And the fact of the matter is that people oftentimes, especially people who are Christians, tend to frown on meditation because a lot of us say, oh, well, I don't meditate. I pray to God. You know what I mean? Which is great. You should pray to God. You should talk to God regularly. However, while there is talking to God in any good conversation, we all know at some point in time you have to listen, right? So I find that when I'm listening, I get a little more back, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But in that, I wrote the book. I went to the meditation retreat. The retreat leader asked me, so if you wrote a book about your life up to this point, what would you call it? And if you wrote a book about your life from this point forward, what would you call it? So I said, well, up to this point, I'd call it, it is what it is. Because whatever's happened has happened. It is literally what it is, which is one of my mother's favorite comments, by the way. But so then I said, from this point forward, I would call it, thank God I didn't kill myself. And I came home. It was in Hawaii. And I came home and I wrote the book. And I wrote the book about my experience, but more than about my experience, I wrote it about the fact that in that healing, I came to the realization that not only do you have to survive these situations, you have to make that option to survive it, but you have to thrive afterwards. And so in order to do that, you can't just be practicing self-care. You know what I'm saying? Self-care is I take a bubble bath. Self-care is I go for walks. Self-care is I get my nails done, my hair done. Self-love is I create boundaries. I take time for myself. I tell people when too much is too much. I don't give more than my capacity has for me to give. And I don't apologize for that either. It's a different approach, which is crazy because my approach now is super kind and super positive, and everybody sees me as such a positive force. But I can only be that because I make sure to fill me up completely. Not like, oh, I'm at 100% and I pour out of that 100%. No, if I'm at 100%, you can't have any. Because I need to stay at 100% because that's where I operate at maximum capacity.
And that's not being selfish.
Exactly. It's not selfish. It's self-love. Because here's the kicker. When I operate at 100% and I pour off of that 100% and I'm then at 90, well, what are my kids supposed to get? What is the rest of my family supposed to get? How am I supposed to still be the best MEKA that I can be? Whereas when I'm operating at 120% and that overflow, that 20% overflow is pouring into the lives of my friends and family, and they're able to multiply that and pour it back into me, it becomes a great evolution of just, greatness. Yes. Like you can't even imagine, you know?
You've achieved so much so far. What are you most proud of in your career?
What am I most proud of? I want to say I'm proud of my book. No, but I'm proud of my survival. I'm proud of me.
I'm proud of your bounce back.
Yeah, like that's what, yes. Because if you know, so let me tell you how many times I've been knocked down. Y'all don't understand when I say, okay, I've been kicked out of the homeless shelter, okay? Pregnant with other kids. I had kids and I was pregnant. I got kicked out of the homeless shelter. Guess why, y'all? Because I was being abused in the homeless shelter. And I had put my abuser out of the shelter. So they said, well, he's on the paperwork and both of you are on the paperwork. So if we get audited, we'll get shut down. So you got to leave too. I was like, but I'm homeless and pregnant. Forget that. When I arrived at the homeless shelter with no food, no money, nowhere to go, they said, oh, well, we can't do anything for you for 30 days. You can stay here, but we can't give you any food or anything or any money, no emergency food stamps or any of those fancy things you hear about. None of that. It was a definite situation. I mean, even my youngest son passing away, you know what I mean? Like, I've been knocked down, but every single time I get knocked down, my bounce back is so crazy. I couldn't imagine this one, though. I can't lie to you. So I think that's what I'm proudest of thus far. I feel like I'm still just beginning for real, you know?
Okay.
I'm proud of me being on Global Television Network. I'm proud of
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. And you've opened so many doors for me. You've introduced me to so many things. And just, I'm proud of the fearlessness that I'm still able to hold on to despite life happening. Because a lot of times when life happens, we take on this fear, this jadedness of our childhood, you know. We give up that childhood essence about ourselves. You know what I mean? And the most important thing is for you to, no matter what you experience, to hold on to that resilience and really believe in who you are and what you're made of. Because otherwise, how are you supposed to make it through? I'm just saying.
Do me a favor. Share a little bit about your journey with Lavish Conversations and the impact on your viewers. because they are worldwide.
Well, I'm always surprised, I must admit, when somebody tells me they've heard of my show or they've seen my show or they've seen my little snippets or my positive messages. Like, I get inboxes and I get messages all the time from, well, of course, from a lot of catfish, first off, let's be clear.
It's time to start putting your Cash App up there, too.
I think I should. You know what? I'm going to put it up here right now for everybody in the chat in case anybody wants to know what it is. Because I have wellness events that we have. I have, self-love events all the time. And I think that not only should you all participate, but I would love if you would contribute because that would be very helpful. I'm just saying. So that's me there.
The impact on your viewers.
Yes. So the impact on my viewers, I think with my show, from the feedback that I get, it's definitely, while I'm encouraging myself, my viewers seem to be very encouraged, seem to be very receptive, like they're receiving the same, effort that I'm trying to put out. So as I give an encouraging word, it might be to me. Oftentimes, and you've seen this, oftentimes when I record my messages, I'm talking to somebody in the room.
Mm-hmm.
Something just happened, and I'm like,
and you're like, get my camera,
Yes, I got a message.
I got something to say.
It can be my kids, it can be friends, it can be friends of friends. If I feel the message, I'm going to say, oh yeah, somebody needs to hear this. And it's certain messages that really just stick with me, So I think that's the biggest impact, is that it's showing me even more so. My whole thing is there's nothing that you experience that nobody else in the world has experienced, survived, and thrived afterwards. There's somebody out there that's going through what you're going through right now.
Mm-hmm.
And there's somebody else who went through it, and they're even better because of it, believe it or not. Things don't happen to us. You know what I mean? They happen for us. And that's not always easy to accept, especially depending on what the thing is.
Mm-hmm.
But my son left this earth, and yes, that's horrible. However, it's not something that happened to me. It's something that happened for me. And I can only take it and try to grow from it, in all honesty. If I don't, then it'll cancel me. It'll kill me. Mm-hmm. It'll take away my drive. I honestly use it as the fuel to my fire.
What's one career highlight that felt like a big turning point for you?
A big turning point for me, doing the red carpet for the Rose Adult Prom. That was really dope.
You look really like you had so much fun.
I had a ball. You put a microphone in my face and in my hand and tell me, feel free to talk to whoever you want. Wait, so this isn't harassment? This is just entertainment? I'd like to know why you're here. What do you like? What brought you here? How are you? What's your name? Tell me your story. But yeah, I love that. I think that was my moment that made me really feel like, okay, I feel like I'm in my vein for certain. That, as well as all the interviews. I've interviewed so many amazing people, and I feel like such a short amount of time. It was a year ago, now a little over a year, that I joined BAM 6 on the 640 Live podcast here on wearegogomusic.com. Check them out if you haven't. But it was just a little over a year, and Bam definitely, when I first met him, even poured into me. So many people don't even know a kind word can go so far. Just like a bad word can, you know what I mean? You curse somebody out, let me tell you, if you curse somebody out the right way, they're going to be talking about this curse out for the next 5 days to everybody they encounter. If you curse them out the right way, a good curse out can go a long way. So if you give somebody a positive word, believe it or not, it can have the same impact. But I've always been that person, I've always felt like an example. I have 4 daughters, for goodness sake. I mean, I had a son as well, but even without my son, I'm still a mom, a woman, a Black woman raising 4 Black young women,
So how do you handle challenges in your career, and what keeps you motivated?
The challenges the main challenge, you didn't ask this, but the main challenge that I run into is, I'm not going to lie, the lack of professionalism that people exhibit. And you would think that it would be a very professional arena, or maybe it's just that I came from such a professional environment, and so therefore I know how much smoother things can run with professionalism. So in this environment, my biggest issue is the lack of professionalism. People standing me up for shows, you know who you are, people not returning correspondence in a timely manner, or not following through with all the things that need to be taken care of. Even people who think that they can take on all the jobs, but you're just one person. You probably could do all the jobs, but you can't do them all at one time. I think that's been the biggest thing that I've run into. But what keeps me motivated, honestly, is my purpose. It's the fact that my conversations, my show is all about showing people inspiration, and the fact that no matter what you're dealing with or what you're going through, that you should and could and can keep going. How can I tell people every day you can keep going, but then I don't keep going? Don't get it twisted. It's cold outside. It's rainy. I wanted to be in the bed today.
I know that.
Okay, how do you know I wanted to be in the bed today? Where did you
I
want
know
to
I
be?
wanted to be in the bed, and we kind of think the same.
Yes, indeed.
Can I ask a personal question, Sam?
Of course.
What are some of your personal values or beliefs that you live by?
One of my first off, I believe treat people not the way you want to be treated, but the way that they want to be treated. I think that's very important. I think people forget about that. We treat people the way we want to be treated, but guess what? You don't like the cold, right?
At all.
The next person loves the cold. So you're not feeling well, and they bring you this cold ice pack to put on you. It might make you feel horrible, right? But it might be something that would make them feel great. You have to think about it from that perspective. The next person is not you, and so therefore the prescription for you is not always the prescription for them.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I think too often we think there's a blanket way that we should treat people, or way that people should feel or act or operate. Too often people say to me, she should do this or he should be this. Why? Based on what?
Right.
It's too much judgment, not enough grace.
How do you balance your professional life with your personal commitments?
Probably not that well, because I'm all about my professional side right now. I'm kind of hyper focused. So with regard to personal stuff, I feel like everything should be about positivity and kindness. So even in my personal life, I want it to be focused on that too. And my kids, might kind of have to get pulled into it a little bit. But they're good messages, for Christ's sake,
Get it. So you walk around here floating on a high all the time, right? How do you deal with stress and maintain your mental health?
Weed. No, I'm just playing. No, meditation. Meditation is probably the main thing. Right, gas. Meditation is probably the main thing that brings me back all the time, in all honesty, because while like I said, life is always lifing, and I've realized that there's so many times that I sat on the phone with people while they vent and they complain and they gripe and moan, right? And then something horrible will happen in my life. When I say horrible, I mean like a man putting a gun to my head, or threatening to cut my fingers off, or my child, being jumped or something, crazy, or my child being deceased, and I'll be sitting on the phone and this person's and this happened and he did this, girl, can you believe? And oh my God. And it's like, I had to come to the realization that that's just noise. You know what I'm saying? It's a distraction. You know what I mean? And so in that distraction, it makes me have to pull myself back.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
It does make sense. So with all that, you did say that life be lifing, right?
Yeah, that's my number one premise.
So my next question, I do not want you to use that. Is there a motto or saying that resonates with you deeply?
Other than life be lifing.
Other than life be lifing.
So the saying I would say resonates with me most is, I am the captain of my ship, and I therefore decide where it goes at all times.
I love it.
Now, I don't know if that's a real saying, but that's what I say all the time.
So explain that. Like, go a little deeper into that for your listeners.
So I'm the captain of my own ship. I run me. I run this. Nobody runs this. So my parents used to always say, you don't have to do anything in life you don't want to do. Probably the worst and best advice to give your child. But you don't have to do anything you don't want to do in life. You just have to be willing to accept the consequences. The only thing you have to do is stay black and die. You all know what an epiphany that was? Like how freeing that is in your real, like, I don't have to do anything. Like, I have to? No. Everything is a choice. And so, therefore, positivity is a choice. You know what I mean? Everything I do is a choice. If I engage in your drama, it's a choice. If I do nothing and let my life waste away, it's a choice. We all have this dash. We all have this one dash. You probably heard, I think I did a message about it this week. We have this one dash. Now, if I give you $1 and say this is the only dollar you're going to get for the rest of your life, you'll be very cautious about what you use it on. You're going to budget, right? You're going to write down every little thing. You're going to nickel and dime people. Oh, where is my change? You know what I mean? However, you get this one dash and you just hand it out to people freely for BS that you know is irrelevant, you know, has nothing to do with your greater purpose. It doesn't serve you. It doesn't serve anybody. Hell, sometimes it doesn't even serve the person that's actually dealing it out. How many times have you heard a person complaining about something and it's like your complaints, while I hear you and I'm letting you vent, right? We've now gone on 6 weeks of you complaining and venting, and yet you've done nothing to change the situation. You're not even trying to listen when I try to give you solutions. That's when you need to tell yourself, oh, snap, I'm at a pity party. It's no balloons or anything. I just showed up, no snacks or nothing, Jesus. It's a terrible situation. Don't find yourself there.
What does success mean to you?
Whoa, Lord, I don't know. Well, let's see. Success to me means Success to me means happiness, I think. So satisfaction, peace. You know, peace also means happiness to me. So I don't mean like, whoa, happiness. I mean happiness like satiation. You know, that's what I think true success is. When you can sit back and feel satiated, feel safe and stable.
I guess I'll accept that for an answer.
That's what I think real success is. Because jobs, money, all that stuff is fickle. All that stuff can be taken away. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
I like to say, take it from me and I'll show you how I get it right back. Because I've had so many things taken. But the fact is, you can't, once I achieve that space, that peace, I'm protecting it at all odds.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What are some of the biggest lessons you've learned along your journey?
I've learned that everybody can't see your dream. I think that's the biggest thing. You know, when you go to sleep and have a dream, right? You see something, you see somebody, you see whatever it may be. Only you saw that.
Mm-hmm.
So you can describe it. You can describe it very well. You can describe it very innately. However, you're the only one that saw it. So you're the only one that can see it. But God gave you that dream for a reason. And so the second that you go share that dream with everybody else, you very well may be opening it up to be tainted by all these other parties. Not just stolen, but tainted. And I mean, because when you come to me and you say, so listen, I'm going to take this metal here and I'm going to put a whole bunch of people on it. I'm going to make it fly over all the seas and, you know, over all the trees, the buildings, everything. We're going to be fine. If I didn't have that dream and if I haven't seen that, to me, it sounds irrational. It's improbable. And the first thing I'm going to do, if I'm a good friend, right, I'm going to try to talk you out of it. Try to talk some sense into you. Help you out. Talk you off the ledge, my friend. However, that might be the dream, the purpose that God gave you because of what you're meant to do.
Right. If you could go back, would you do anything differently?
Hell yeah.
What?
First thing I would do different if I could go back is, let's see, what would I do different? I probably wouldn't have been a tomboy. I was a tomboy.
You definitely were.
Like, really, anybody that knows me, thinks that I ate the old chick, MEKA. Because, like, yeah, we don't dress alike, we don't talk alike, we don't act alike, we don't think alike, you know? When I had my first daughter, I remember people saying, I hope you're having a boy, because I could not imagine you raising a girl. 4 daughters later, I think I'm a pretty good example as a, woman raising 4 girls.
I think you're doing a wonderful job.
Thank you. But so I wish I hadn't done that because I wasn't a tomboy because, I enjoyed playing in the dirt or running or sliding or climbing trees, although I did those things. But the reason I was a tomboy is because I felt very objectified because of my body. And so at a young age, you know what I'm saying? Not to be like that, but big butts weren't like in style. They were just sexualized. So being a kid with a, shapely shape, I found like old dirty men like doing cat calling me and stuff, especially when I started working for like DC Summer Work. Shout out to Marion Berry. And I was, catching the bus to the metro to get what is it, J14? I think I caught the J14 to get to the city so I could go to my jobs, and I'd be walking around and it'd be all these people in the corner like, damn, and stuff like that. And it made me so uncomfortable that I started dressing like TLC before TLC came out. But then they came out, so it was a little more acceptable.
What advice would you give to someone who wants to pursue a similar career?
Just go after it. In all honesty, especially in this day and age, anything is attainable. Any career you want, I feel like you could just do it. Literally, like it's Nike out here in this world today. If you want it, go get it. Nobody is stopping you but you. Now, yes, you'll run into gatekeepers, you'll run into barriers, but any barrier you run into, there's a way around or through it if you just use your tenacity. I mean, that's what I've experienced. And anything you need, if you can't find somebody to do it, you can figure out how to do it yourself. Look on Fiverr. You can YouTube most things. If I can YouTube how to change oil, surely I can YouTube how to interview somebody.
Who or what motivates you to keep growing and pushing forward?
Well, first off, of course, my daughters, I would say. Myself, because I feel like without my own motivation, nothing's going to happen. Nobody really cares as long as checks come in and, productivity happens. Now, I will say the two people that motivate me the most, though, are no longer here. One, of course, is my son, because I know that my son, if he could, would be here. And I know that he would be very proud of me and the things that I'm doing. But also my god sister, her name is Juliet, and she was an artist. She was part of the group that I was in, and she passed away with 4 different types of cancer at the age of 47. And that was just last year. And, I definitely know that both of those people, both of those spirits, both of their entities are pushing for me, rooting for me, cheering for me, and would be so proud of me. So every day I think of them. And that's why I consider these things lavish conversations.
Right.
Like any conversation you have with anyone is a lavish conversation because you have the opportunity to have it. And somebody else wishes that they did.
Can you share a moment with your viewers when you've ever doubted yourself and how you overcame that?
I think I used to doubt myself, especially when I used to sing.
You sang at my wedding too.
I did. I did. That was not on purpose.
I enjoyed it. Thank you.
I just go where I'm led, but you're welcome. But I didn't mean to sing, but I did burst into song. But I don't sing anymore. But when I used to sing, I remember even speaking, when I would hear my voice, I had to get used to the sound of my voice. Nobody likes the sound of their voice when they hear it back, I don't think.
I definitely don't.
Yeah, so it's a very interesting thing to have to get accustomed to. So not just singing, but speaking. And I think that's when I felt most insecure. But the way that I pressed through is because you're not going to tell me what I can't do. Like, what you think this is? I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. So even as a child, especially a dark-skinned young girl.
You've always been rebellious.
I have. I always had a, what you mean I can't do it? Who do you think I am? You know what I mean? You don't know what I can do. Only God can tell you what I was always that person. So I think I took a big challenge in, feeling any inferiority that I ever might have encountered. Definitely.
What inspired you to start reaching out to your followers and viewers on such a large scale?
I wasn't initially reaching out to my viewers and followers. I was initially just talking to myself. I was giving myself pep talks. Like, it sounds very, hey, this is MEKA, but yeah, hey, this is MEKA. Like, nuck if you buck, right? You know what I mean? I say things, all my words of encouragement to myself aren't always, words of encouragement on the best side, but I've always talked to myself. I've always encouraged myself. I sing to myself. I've always done that. I remember being a camp counselor in Kingston, Illinois, and I was at the camp, and the whole summer, this sounds very minute, I'm sure, to some people, but the entire summer, I only saw one Black person.
Wow.
And it was a little boy who wasn't even in my group. So I couldn't even talk to him. He was on the other side of the camp. And it just felt very isolating, specifically because I'm not just a Black person, but I'm also a dark complected Black person. And as I grew up in the 80s, that was something that was very prevalent and something that I was always like, I was never, how somebody might be like, forget you, dog. No, it was forget you, you Black dog. Forget you, you know what I mean? Everything, it was always you Black. Whatever. I couldn't just be a B. I had to be a Black B. You know what I mean? So it was always like it was being hammered into my head. It's 4:44. Shout out to 444 for those watching. But yes, that was being hammered into my head, definitely. That, and nobody ever called me pretty per se. Nobody called me ugly either, but nobody ever called me pretty per se either. So you just take little notations and they, evolve in your mind however they evolve. Not to mention that's what television was back in the day. Mm-hmm. The light skin, curly long hair. I have long hair now, but that's because I stopped perming it when I was in high school. But again, going against the grain, because in high school I shaved all my hair off and nobody was shaving their hair in the 90s. None of you all were big chopping back then. I don't know why you couldn't have big chopped with me. It would have been fun. We could have bonded.
Next question.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the responsibility that comes with influencing and inspiring others?
I feel like it's a very big responsibility because I don't want to just encourage and inspire people, but I want to be very authentic in what I'm conveying. So I'm not always happy. I'm not always feeling up. But even when I'm not feeling up, I do make that conscious effort to pivot. And hopefully people are able to see that in me. I mean, even if, the world isn't seeing it, which, does seem to be the feedback I'm getting thus far. Things are becoming much more global, which makes me so happy. But just starting with my 4 daughters, these are 4 different people. It's almost a starting lineup. I used to have a starting lineup, FYI. But it's 4 people. Like, that's almost a starting lineup. We have a good amount of people for the rebellion. So if you pour the best things into them, look at what my ripple effect really is.
Right. What do you hope people take away from your social media and interviews?
Hopefully, I want people to take away, if nothing else, that you are an inspiration, no matter who you are and what you're experiencing. There's somebody that's looking at you, watching you, and seeing your light and growing from your light. Just like the sun makes us all warm and makes plants and trees grow. And it's not shining for those plants and trees. It's not shining for you. It's not shining for me. It's shining because it's the sun. So if you just shine as you are, as the greatest you that you can be, there's so many things that are meant to grow from you and evolve just because you exist as you. When I try to give you solutions, that's when.
What?
I don't know what happened there. But okay. I'm not always feeling up. No idea. Even when I'm not feeling up, I do make that. There we go.
Okay. In what ways are you looking to grow or expand your influence next?
My goal ultimately is to get onto network television. I want to do television on a wider scope. I also have street interviews that I'm kicking off very soon. They were supposed to kick off yesterday, but they'll be kicking off this week. Saturday, hopefully, will be our first day since it'll be our first full sunny day with no rain, according to the...
I'm available.
Oh, good. Awesome. According to the forecast. So, yeah, Saturday will be our first day. And it is a street interviews. There is street interviews about why you didn't kill yourself. And whatever you experienced in that moment when the rubber really met the road, what made you keep going? How did you survive? How did you turn your story of trauma into a story of triumph? How did you turn your pain into your power, Because I think hearing that from not only people that I have on my show, but from people that are just walking down the street, I think it'll be a very good revelation, not to just people watching it, but to people who are having the opportunity to share their testimony as to what their power really is.
Okay. I got one more question before you can go to a
commercial?
commercial. And
Okay.
you playing I'm not playing no games. Are you playing games with your listeners? I got a game for you though, but that's going to be let me ask this question.
Okay.
How do you decide which brands or causes to support as a social media influencer?
That's funny because people don't realize that I am very picky, and I'm very picky because of the fact that, again, I think I'm an example. So as an example, I want to make sure that I'm not representing anything that I wouldn't wholeheartedly support in my regular day-to-day life, because I don't want you out here supporting it and making yourself ill or receiving bad products. I'm big on customer service, just like I'm big on being a good customer though. So I feel like those things go hand in hand. So I'm very selective based on what you're doing, why you're doing it, who you are, and what type of background you have. I always love an organization that gives back to the community too, of course.
Let's pay some bills.
Okay, let's get it. So a shout out to our sponsor. Thank you, Kiki. Hey, Kiki. Hey, Jamia. I hope you're in here. Let's give a shout out to our sponsor again. Our sponsor, for those of all who don't know, is the Fort Lauderdale Fiesta. The Fort Lauderdale Fiesta is now taking reservations. You only have to put $50 down in order to reserve your room, your space. It is on thecelebrityfiesta.com. So here's a brief word. Check them out. Again, that's the Fort Lauderdale Fiesta, and that is the sponsor for our show. I'm not sure what's happening with my camera right now, but we're working on that. And again, make sure that you check out the celebrityfiesta.com for further information, to put your down payment down, and to make sure that you're included. Now, again, the Fort Lauderdale Fiesta is also the same people who brought you the Rose Adult Prom. If you didn't hear about it, check it out, definitely. I also have some highlights on my page from there, so make sure you look into that. Now we're going to do a brief shout out here. I did an interview with Austin Hankins a while back. I want to kind of revisit that really quickly because Austin just got home from the hospital yesterday and he's doing really well. So if you're not following him, please follow his journey on Facebook. I'm going to cut to that interview really quickly. It's a brief interview, just 3 minutes. Please check it out. Thanks. Hey you guys, it's MEKA with Lavish Conversations. I'm here on site with Austin Hankins.
Howdy.
Austin is a story of triumph in himself, just an inspiration who didn't even know he was going to be an inspiration, did you, huh?
No, I honestly had no idea.
So August the 21st, you had a traumatic experience. Just give us a little quick rundown. What happened?
So the driver, he was speeding like really, really fast. And, well, you know what? Let me start from like what happened.
Okay.
We went from a Taco Bell, we did donuts in that parking lot. Then we drove down 17, turned on the Bobbler, and he sped past this white car. And the girl that was in the back started screaming, "Cop, cop, 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 cop." And the guy sped up. He reached 120 miles an hour, overcorrected, and it ended up with us in a tree and split in three.
Oh my goodness. And Austin, somebody who has been towering over people at 6'7" as the big friendly giant for 16 years now, right?
Yeah.
How did it feel to have to experience such a tragedy and then to try to now experience your new normal that you're dealing with?
I'm gonna be 6'7" again. Once I get my prosthetics, I'll be 6'7" again. And
what do you have to do for your prosthetics?
in 6 to 8 weeks after my last surgery, they'll start fitting me for my prosthetics.
Now, in this last month, how many surgeries have you had to have?
16.
16 surgeries in 1 month. How do you stay positive?
Just knowing that I get to get out of here.
And what do you want to do when you get out of here?
Go eat at a restaurant, sit down.
And ultimately, career-wise, what do you want to do for us?
Firefighting. I want to be a firefighter. I want to be Virginia's first double amputee firefighter.
That's amazing and definitely attainable. Now, where can people go support you?
So I have a Facebook group called Austin's Journey, the BFG. There's an
Not an OnlyFans, but on Facebook. You can go find Austin on Austin's Journey, the BFG.
There's a GoFundMe on there.
Yes, and support his GoFundMe, definitely. Make sure you check it out and make sure you definitely support Austin's Journey and be an encouragement yourself and an inspiration yourself as you experience whatever it is you may be dealing with, because I'm certain it might not quite be as heavy as Austin's journey right now. Wouldn't you say so, Austin?
No, but still, I mean, however small your journey is, you gotta move past it, do better than it.
Definitely. And no matter who you are, I hope you're having a great day. I hope you continue to be the best you that you can be, because there's literally nobody out here better suited for that job. And I'll talk to you next time. Thanks. That was Austin. I tagged his page below. Make sure you check him out again. Austin's Journey, the BFG. Again, we're going to watch a quick little snippet from our sponsor, the Fort Lauderdale Fiesta, for all of you who didn't catch it. It's really quick. Be patient. 30 seconds. I'll be back. And we're back. So as you know, we're having a lavish conversation with me on why existing is not enough. Feel free to join us in the chat with any questions, comments, or thoughts you may have. As you know, we're definitely, giving testimonies. And I think giving a testimony is the best thing that oftentimes we all hear. If you remember when you used to go to church back in the day, you remember the testimony lines when they'd be like, "Does anybody want to give a testimony and talk about how God has been so good this week?" And I mean, I'm just saying, like, my week has been hellacious. The last 2 weeks have been crazy, you all. However, I often operate like a duck. You know what I mean? Like, I'm really smooth sailing. It's all calm and cool on top of the water, but underneath the water, my feet paddling like that. You know what I mean? But I keep it moving. And I think that's most important. Yeah, that's what's most important in life. You got to keep it moving, however you do it.
Let's get back.
Okay, let's get back to our question. Oh, hold on. Here's Austin's tag real quick at the bottom of the screen for anybody looking for it. Austin's Journey, the BFG, on Facebook. And his first day home was yesterday. So you can also follow his journey as he's recuperating at home, find out what he got to eat for that first meal, that first meal out of the hospital after so long, all that great stuff. Okay.
You ready?
Mm-hmm.
What's something people might be surprised to learn about you?
Something people might be surprised to learn about me is that I'm shy. Most people don't even believe me when I say it, but I'm so shy for real. Which is why I can take certain moments and I just don't want to say anything. Sometimes I just don't want to talk, you know. I don't know. I don't know what it is about me. But, yeah.
Give me something else.
Other than I'm shy?
Mm-hmm.
What else do people not know about me? Probably that I have anxiety. So that's something that makes me, have to compartmentalize. It's part of the reason also that I don't allow stress to really get on me or, lay too heavily on me, because it's so crazy because my ex-husband and I were the first to discover. My ex-husband was my boyfriend from 5th to 12th grade. little known secret. So, needless to say, he knew me pretty well back then. And something that we discovered was that I didn't do well with stress. I just don't do well with stress. Not like I handle things really well. Nobody would ever know I'm not going to deal with well with it. But then the next day, the next week, I'll just not feel well. Like I absorb it. So people talk about all the time being empathetic and all that stuff like that. However, when you really are somebody who feels other people's pain, it's a different gamut, and it really can make you sick. It really, that energy really transfers on a heavy level.
As much as I know how much you love yourself,
Yeah.
if you could spend a day in the life of any person, who would it be and why?
In their life,
Mm-hmm.
if I could be them,
Mm-hmm. Just a day. Just a day.
if I could be somebody else for the day, if I could be somebody, I've never thought of being anybody. If I could be somebody else for the day.
Let's move on.
Maybe one of my kids.
One of your kids. That's a good one. Which one? London?
Oh my gosh. Probably London. So my kids and so you know how I say this all the time. If you knew me yesterday, but you don't know me today, you don't know me. Because I'm always evolving. I'm always changing and growing. I mean, as we all should be. But my oldest daughter versus my youngest daughter have two different parents. Completely. I'm a whole different person than I was 26 years ago. Like, thankfully. But yeah, if I was going to be somebody, I think I'd be the youngest. I'd be London's mom. I'd be London. Because I'd love to see what it's like being
London.
Having to deal with me. But being her.
Yeah. What's one of your guilty pleasures?
One of my... So I still love TV. And when things are too stressful, if I'm not meditating, I'll let TV watch me. Like, I won't know what's on there, but I'll let it watch me. I love Naked and Afraid. Gotta get that protein. And I love 90 Day Fiance. I love 90 Day Fiance.
Did I make that cut?
Not quite, but just about. I mean, you all could. No, you didn't do it.
No, it was
it
was a fiance before 90 days.
But y'all didn't do the K1 visa.
No, we didn't do that.
Where you have to get married in the 90 days, or you have to go back to your country.
No, we didn't do that. Should have waited for that.
I'm saying, right?
Could have got an episode.
You could have got a little episode or two. I would have been cheering you all on, definitely. Now that could have been my big break right there.
Right, exactly. If you weren't doing what you do now, what other career would you love to explore?
If I wasn't doing what I'm doing now, still something creative, of course. So I would love to try acting. I love A&R work. I love like listening to music and like yes or no right off the break. Oh, you said little known things about me. It's that I used to be a rapper, like for real, used to rap.
Did you really just go back 5 questions?
I did. Mm-hmm. Oh, I also have attention deficit. That's what makes me pretty good at all my creative endeavors. I think my mind can cover several topics at one time.
Let's play rapid fire.
All right, let's go.
Red or blue?
Blue.
Favorite book?
Chell Silverstein, The Giving Tree.
Apple or Samsung?
Apple.
Favorite music genre?
Hip hop.
Favorite way to unwind?
Favorite way to unwind?
Mm-hmm.
Silence.
Favorite season?
Summer. Take it off.
You were meant to be in Jamaica with me.
I was. Oh my word. Nobody cared. Nobody bothered you. Oh, go ahead, rapid fire.
No. I'm done. I'm done the rapid fire.
Yes, nobody cared. Nobody bothered you. Jamaica is everything, you guys. I'm just saying. I mean,
can we talk about Jamaica for a little while? I got 2 more questions, but can we talk about Jamaica? Can we talk about how much I appreciate you for coming and doing everything that you did? Because you were everything.
I appreciate you having me there.
Thank you.
I have this thing in my mind, right?
Mm-hmm.
where I feel like when somebody, so maybe it's too much TV. I think I told you this, but in my mind, when it's somebody's wedding day, it's literally supposed to be all about that person, right? You really shouldn't attend if you don't want it to be all about that person or those people. That's how I feel, honestly. So I feel like,
did something happen or something?
well, yeah, I spoke about it kind of last week when I was talking to myself about this really envious lady that was there, and she probably doesn't think she was envious in her behavior. However, everybody can see it. You know, big thing, quick little side note. You will never see yourself, okay? So when you're walking around salty, in a nasty mood, everybody can see it on you. Everybody. And only people that can't see it on you are the people that are choosing not to see it on you. But it's very obvious. And so therefore, when you make that pivot in your mind and your heart, it has to be a genuine, sincere pivot. Otherwise, you're just part of the problem, an anchor, if you will, on somebody's neck. And that's what she was giving at your wedding, your lovely friend, one of your lovely friends.
How do you feel about my new family?
I love your new family. They're so supportive. Everybody is so kind and like just open. It just felt so organic in the first place. But everybody there, I have to admit, everybody in Jamaica I ran into, I don't recall an ill look, an ill word, nothing. Even when I didn't know how to pay for my stuff. Nobody judged me, you know? And I'm pretty big and colorful here. So I can only imagine how big and colorful I am in another country. You know what I mean? Because I don't turn down for anybody. That's something else I've learned over the years.
They definitely ask about you every day.
I love that because I love them. I mean, seriously. Like, everybody was so great. We woke up in the morning and, you know, not to put your business out there.
You can put all my business out there.
It's very like, you know, did you break your fast? You need to come eat. MEKA, you need to eat. Like, you know what I'm saying? Not just her, but like, first off, I love to see a man who makes it so that you're able to be comfortable in your feminine space. You know what I'm saying? You don't feel any type of danger or any type of instability, you know? And so when that happens, oftentimes I feel like it's a lot easier for you to take direction from that man, not suggestion, but direction, which is important to be able to take from the person you marry. You have to be able to take direction from him. Because if you walk in a room and he says, sit down, you need to sit the hell down.
And that's what I do.
Yeah.
So when I first, can I?
Go ahead.
So when I first met him, he called me on the phone. Mind you, we're on the same property. And he's like, come here.
Uh-huh.
And I said, okay. And then I hung up the phone. I started thinking with my American mind. I was like, who do you think he's talking to?
It's not even American. It's that independent mind.
Yeah, I guess.
And it's partially because of, you know, single parentness.
Yeah, that
things
too.
Of that nature, you know. Even with your parents, you know, your parents were definitely married, let's be clear. However, you know, your dad did pass away when you were younger, which left your mom to still be a single mom. Yes, her mom chose well. Not like everybody says about all single moms. They should have chosen better. Well, unfortunately, his time came before their children were grown and on about their business. But so with that happening, though, it created an example of independence as well. You know what I mean? That you took on. And so even that thought that how do I know you're going to be here? What if something happens, you know? So you're always looking out for yourself. So when somebody says, come here, our thought is what? Who are you talking to? For what?
Who you talking to?
What you want? What's up? Whereas come here could mean come here because I know that something's about to blow up all of upstairs and I need you to come here so you don't blow up in upstairs. But while you're sitting there asking questions, you're blowing up. Bubble. Just saying. Real talk. And the reason I said that is because I've always said, whatever man I marry again, you know, I've been married, but whatever man I marry again, he has to be the type of person or the person that when I walk in a room, if he says sit down, I'm just going to sit down and I'm going to ask questions, yes, because that's who I am. But I'm going to ask questions later. I'm going to sit down first, you know.
You see how I act. He called me, yes. You ain't never seen that.
No, not at all. But I've never seen anybody worthy of that around you. So therefore that speaks of that, doesn't it?
Let me ask my last two questions.
Oh, yeah.
What message would you like to leave with our viewers?
I would like to leave the message that anything you do, you're going to have an impact. Be very cognizant of the impact that you make. Be very intentional about the impact you make. Everything you touch, like I just touched the table, my fingerprints are on it. You're leaving a fingerprint, an imprint on everything. Make sure you're leaving a good one. Make sure you're leaving the one that you intend to leave.
That was good.
Thank you.
How can people connect with you and follow your journey?
Holla at your girl on you can follow me on MEKA Nicole on Facebook. Follow me on Lavish Conversations. Make sure that you subscribe to my YouTube channel, Lavish Conversations, because I don't have everything that's on my Facebook. I don't put everything on YouTube that I put on Facebook that I put on YouTube. I don't put everything on Instagram, etc. So follow me on Lavish Conversations on Instagram. On TikTok, I am Lavish Conversations as well, or MEKA Nicole everywhere. And make sure you're tuning in on Saturday mornings to the Capitol Forum to see me on Global Television Network, which is streaming on Fox 5 WDCA. To make sure you check out my Lavish Conversation segment there. And tuning in every Thursday here on wearegogomusic.com so you can catch From the DMV live with MEKA.
This was really fun.
It was.
I appreciate you allowing me to do this.
I appreciate you doing it. It was a fun show. My guest was on time, and she was so open. You know, I really appreciated all the guests that I've spoken with, but
this one was the best, right?
I might be a little biased, however, you know.
Comma.
Just saying. If you haven't purchased my book, please make sure you do. It's available on Amazon. It's also available on Barnes & Noble. It's Thank God I Didn't Kill Myself, A Guide from Self-Care to Self-Love by MEKA Nicole. And I'll see you all soon. If anybody has any questions or anything, make sure you inbox me. Hey, Rhoda, my bad. Everybody have a great week. Make sure you're being the best you can be, because there is nobody out here better suited for that job than you. And I'll talk to you all soon. Thank you.